Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Greater Together Conversation with Leadership. I'm Cassie Miles, the President of the Board of Directors of Great Theater, and on behalf of the Board of Directors, we want to thank you for making time to join us virtually for an update on Great Theater today. We hope you're all well and all healthy, and we would really love for this to be a real conversation. So if you could use the chat feature in YouTube or the comments feature on Facebook to ask questions at any time, we will try to answer as many as we can during our 30 minutes together. First, I want to welcome our great staff who will be providing the updates. Let me introduce our Executive Director, Dennis Whipple, our Education Director, Kendra Norton Dando, who will provide educational program updates, our Managing Director, Lacey Shermers, who will be managing the chat to ensure that we answer all of your questions today. And lastly, our Technical Director, Colin Jarrell, who is producing today's virtual conversation. And Dennis is going to start us off today with our conversation, with our safety update. Dennis?
Thank you, Cassie. So in Great's 23 seasons of producing theater, for our community, safety for our volunteers, our audiences, our staff has always been very important. And then this shutdown forced us to end all programming on March 13th, and here we are 4 months into this unpredictable time, during which every decision we have made is about the safety of our volunteers, our audiences, our staff, and our artists. And we've worked hard to keep everyone updated with events like this and involved in our process through many online surveys. This crisis has had a profound effect on Great. The Minnesota Council of Nonprofits just released study results that show the sudden spread of COVID-19 has profoundly affected the nonprofit sector, and they report the arts are the most disruptive of all nonprofits in Minnesota. Great, and all of our local arts groups like the Paramount and Fine Arts programming are greatly affected and will need your support. So the most common question that we're getting these days is, will you be performing Mamma Mia in September at the Paramount? And while we miss you all, and we cannot wait to perform for you, you are the first to learn that our 2021 Broadway series at the Paramount Center for the Arts will be postponed until mass gatherings are deemed safe for our community and it's financially feasible for Great. So we will perform these wonderful shows, including Mamma Mia, Little Shop of Horrors, and Cinderella. And we will share new dates with you once they are determined. This means we likely won't be performing for large audiences until 2021. However, we will be ready to lead the return to live theater as soon as it is safe, including some smaller programming that will start now in our Helgeson Learning Lab Theater. We will be back. And we will need your help to rebuild Great to greater than ever. So why have we made this decision? So safety and financial viability. In recent surveys, over 70% of our audiences say they won't return until 2021 at the earliest. So we have listened to our audiences. While Governor Walz has turned up the dial to allow for entertainment venues in Minnesota to open at 25% capacity, filling only 200 seats at the Paramount isn't economically viable for Great. In addition, we are still working on the best ways to protect the health and safety of Great volunteers, our ushers, our artists, our backstage crews. The reality is Great will be much smaller for the next couple years. It took us 22 years to build Great into what it was prior to COVID. And so we've made very difficult decisions during this time to eliminate some staff positions. And we will miss these wonderful artists. And we will continue to furlough some positions. And the rest of us, including myself, will be working fewer hours. Our ability to keep our staff will be dependent on our fundraising success. Philanthropy has always been and will always be critical to ensuring Great survives and thrives. So we are grateful to each and every person who donated their tickets or their registration back to Great, donors who made additional gifts, and funders like the MSAB, CMAB, CMCF, Optimist Clubs, Humanity Centers, and the Morgan Family Foundation, who have committed their support during this challenging time. We are greater together. And lots has been happening, even while shut down with programming. And so next, we're going to welcome Kendra in for an education update, because you have had a lot going on, Kendra.
Yes, thank you, Dennis. Though it looks different, theater education has not stopped just because we cannot meet in person. And it's been exciting to adapt to the current needs of our community. Back when this all began last spring, we continued working with our neighborhood school Discovery, adapting the social emotional learning curriculum for a virtual environment. We continued to meet with the first and second graders online, as well as record and upload lessons for Discovery's use. We also created the Live from the Lab Friday nights, the Friday night broadcast for our community that ran in April and May. And there we saw a lot of volunteer participation through the virtual cabarets, the Shakespeare play readings, and we got to hear from professional designers too. So thank you for participating in those community Live from the Labs. Most recently, we've continued our programming with United Way, offering virtual drama workshops at Kid Stop and Boys and Girls Clubs locations this summer. By the end of July, we'll have taught 3 sessions of drama workshop, working with kids in 1st through 5th grades to develop characters and create stories using everyday items found around the house as the springboard for that workshop. We are also in the middle of a virtual session of We Speak at South Junior High, which is a project that centers student voices and uses theater as a tool to focus on the significance of telling our own stories and deepening our understanding of the world around us. A few weeks ago, our 2020 camp families were invited to stop by Great and pick up a summer 2020 Great t-shirt. While we couldn't hold camps, we were excited to continue this tradition, and it was great to see so many folks at the drive-by t-shirt pickup, and a special thanks to the camp instructors who helped with distribution. This morning, actually, we launched our 2020 virtual summer activities, which over 150 families signed up to participate in. And we're excited to get that going with the first activity focusing on costume design. Every other day for the next 2 weeks, students can check into our Google Classroom and engage in a theater project from the comfort of their own home in a time frame that works with their schedule. We're looking at costume design, monologue work, scene work, playwriting, and choreography, and we're thrilled to engage kids from kindergarten through high school. We have also continued our own education as great staff these last 3 months. We are committed to anti-racism as an organization, and as a leadership team have been reading and discussing Layla Saad's Me and White Supremacy. We are continuing to learn and unlearn so that we can examine how our policies and procedures uphold structures of racism, so that we can better our organization for all. We are in this for the long haul, and we recognize that the internal work is necessary for structural change. So lots happening education-wise. So this kind of wraps up the summary of great education, both internally what we're focused on, as well as how we are externally adapting to better serve our community during this time. So now we're going to turn to Lacey.
Hi, yeah. Thank you to those who provided us questions via email ahead of time. Like Cassie said, feel free to add your questions into the comment section on YouTube or Facebook. Most of what we've been hearing so far is asking about our shows and programming. And Dennis, you touched on that a little bit with the fall at the Paramount Center for the Arts, but can you fill us in on the rest of the 2021 season?
Yes, gladly. So we have some good news to share also. We are going to do virtual auditions for the Laramie Project. This will be happening in our lab space. And so we actually already on our website is the information to how to do your video audition for Laramie. Laramie will have some virtual rehearsals and some in-person rehearsals. And we hope to perform it at the end of September here in the Lab Theater with a whole bunch of safety guidelines that we've created that are also available on our website. Our volunteers, many of our performers have said they're ready to go. And we want to create a really safe environment for them to tell this really amazing, amazing play, the Laramie Project. This project will follow safety and CDC guidelines for temperature checks, masks, and groups, and we'll get some of our amazing volunteer performers back onto the stage. We also are going to partner with the Paramount and produce a Broadway musical review live from the Paramount stage on Sunday, September 13th at 2 o'clock. So mark your calendars, 2 o'clock on the 13th of September. We will be live from the Paramount stage. So artists that are interested in performing, again, go to our website and you can fill out an audition form on there for your interest in that project also. These will all be done in a really safe environment. So listening to our audiences and our volunteer surveys, the majority of you aren't ready to sit in an auditorium yet. So we're working to create some small, safe projects for those who are ready. And we said we're going to live stream from the Paramount. We're also going to be able to live stream the Laramie project live from the lab. And it'll be a 3-camera professional setup. It'll be our first time trying this. So each of our performances of the Laramie, we hope to have a small in-person audience, but also we will be live over the internet for everyone in the community to be able to see this production safely from their homes. As we move forward, each of our decisions will be made based on listening to our audiences and our volunteers and safety guidelines as we begin to ramp back up and add projects back in. We also, like many of you, are waiting to learn what will our schools be doing next year and how can GREAT help. We also expect by the end of July to have results from a national study from performing arts groups around how much the virus spreads during singing or acting or playing of instruments. And we'll use those results to help inform some of our safety guidelines and what types of plays we can do. We'll also continue to survey our audiences to see when you're ready to return. And most critically, we will be reaching out to each and every donor to ask for your support during a special campaign to help GREAT survive and thrive. And Kendra will have some education opportunities too for our community. Kendra, you want to share a little bit about those?
Yes, so we're continuing all education with our community partners. Whether schools are in person or online, we are ready to get back to our 2nd and 3rd grade classrooms of discovery with a continued focus on social emotional learning. We know that SEL is important for kids, and the current stresses that we are facing societally only increase the importance of a social emotional wellness focus. So we really look forward to supporting that work. We will also continue to partner with United Way, serving as part of after-school programming for youth in the St. Cloud area. We plan to offer both drama workshops and We Speak after school this coming year. Of course, a lot to be figured out, but we are looking forward to those opportunities. And additionally, we are going to be offering some virtual master classes for adults in our community as we bring in experts, both local and from across the country, to focus on a variety of topics, including acting, playwriting, and script analysis or reading. Our first masterclass will happen on September 2nd and will be focused on acting. So save that date and look for more information to come later this summer, early fall. We also want to remind everyone about the radio drama script writing contest happening in partnership with KVSC. We will be offering some workshops this fall to assist with the writing process as scripts are due December 31st. We are really excited about this project to be producing a radio drama written by a local playwright, maybe you, in 2021. So please check the website for more details about that contest.
Thank you both for those updates. So since all of this started, many of the questions that have been steadily receiving are related to how GREAT is doing financially and if and how we'll be able to weather this. And Dennis spoke a little bit earlier to what we've been doing so far, and it's definitely becoming more and more clear as time goes on that this road to recovery is going to be much longer than what we thought a couple months ago. Cassie, can you elaborate on what this means for GREAT going forward and what we're doing now to ensure we survive and thrive?
Sure. Thank you, Lacey. So as Dennis mentioned, it took 22 years to build GREAT Theater to what it is today, and that work was done with the tremendous support of our donors and volunteers. While we have applied and will continue to apply for every grant and every pool of federal stimulus assistance that is available to us, we will need the support of our donors and volunteers now more than ever to move forward. The pandemic has cut GREAT Theater's earned revenue by more than 50%. Your philanthropy will be our primary source of income for the foreseeable future and will be critical as we rebuild, reinvent, and continue to share the joy of the arts with our community. I hope that helps.
And speaking of community, Dennis, can you share with us what this means for the Paramount Center for the Arts and our partnership with them?
Oh, yeah, gladly. So we've been meeting with the Paramount leaders, Bob and Gretchen, via Zoom each week. And they've been very terrific in working through the hundreds of details around canceling programming and giving us their support as we hope to figure out how we are going to return in that beautiful historic theater when safe. So to help us plan for that day with the Paramount, Great has asked audience volunteers and camp families to take surveys. We've had over 1,100 survey responses. So we have a very involved and dedicated support group here at Great, and they share what they believe and they think. And so again, a majority of our audiences are saying they won't return to live theater until there is a vaccine and treatment for COVID-19. And our volunteers have said they are ready if we can create a safe way for them to return as soon as possible to volunteering at the theater they love. Additionally, surveys have given us a lot to work on around HVAC. So Great Learning Lab Theater is a very new facility, and our HVAC is awesome, I guess, and can get that air, sent back out and fresh air put in as required or needed, as recommended. And we're working with the Paramount as they look for how does that work in that space also. And the Paramount has definitely said they'll help us do whatever they need to get back on the stage, and us too for them. We want them to survive this challenge also. But I think the other part, Lacey, is that, as you saw too, we were just overwhelmed by the comment sections and the support of our audiences and our volunteers. You miss being here with the theater that you love and treasure, and we miss you. And most importantly, you kept talking about how you want to make sure Great is around for many future generations and to do everything possible. And I promise you we are, and it's because of that support and all the interest from our community that makes Great possible.
Yeah, and another one that people ask that kind of relates to that is just what else can I do to help? What else is there for us and for other people?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. What can people do to help? Certainly those who have been able to donate their tickets and registration, that has helped us keep a very small staff working to do the education that Kendra talked about. And so that was tremendously helpful, in the moment. Now that we have this greater understanding that we're looking at 2021, philanthropy is really going to be the key. We have cut every expense possible, from how we use our building to memberships to anything we can cut out of our budget. As Cassie said, we've cut it below 50%, but the part that will really be critical is the philanthropy portion of that. And so we're going to work over the next 6 weeks to 8 weeks, reaching out to each and every donor and participant, audience member at Great Theater to ask for their help, to check in and see how they're doing. And if they have the ability to help us, philanthropy is going to be, as Cassie said, more critical than ever, especially in these next 12 months as we understand this, so that we can keep a small staff ready to ramp back up, so we can keep the education going, so we can keep our Helgeson Learning Lab Theater safe. That donation is really what has always made that possible in the arts, the difference between a ticket price and what it really costs to create those shows. The reality is we will be smaller, and so we'll have fewer staff members, and those are the ways we're going to try to keep us healthy and then build up as we can over time.
Great. So I don't have any other questions that are coming through the streams right now. I'll just, as a reminder, if you have them, feel free to email us. We will definitely follow up with you. With that, I will turn it over to Cassie.
Yes. Thank you, Lacey, and thank you everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate you attending our virtual conversation, and we cannot wait to perform for you in person. Lacey and the rest of the staff, we're going to look through to make sure that we answered all of the questions that were sent, and we'll reach out directly with answers. As Lacey said, if you come up with something after this virtual meeting ends, please send us an email, send us a message. We will get back to you. And you can also stay up to date by visiting our website. And of course, we will reach out as we have new information to share with you also. Really quickly before we end this conversation, we want to again share our gratitude. Thank you very much to all of our donors, to all of our Flash fundraiser participants, to everybody who donated their tickets, their camp registrations, all of those who have renewed their contributions, our Director Circle donors, and our board of directors, and especially all of our great staff and production artists. We just really appreciate everything that you've done for us. Thank you, be well, and take care.